Sam came to the federal building every September 11th. He'd sit in the lobby where his partner's memorial plaque hung, too small for most people to notice. This year, young security guards decided he was suspicious and forced him out. "I designed this security system," Sam said quietly as they escorted him toward the exit. They laughed until Building Administrator Patricia Walsh saw what was happening from her office window and sprinted down 5 flights of stairs. Because Master Chief Samuel Mitchell hadn't just designed the security system, he'd saved her life during the 2001 anthrax attacks. Welcome to People's Journal Stories. Before we begin, tell us in the comments, from which city in the world are you watching this video today? And if you believe stories like this need to be heard, hit that subscribe button to support the channel. September 11th, 2023. Master Chief Samuel Mitchell walked slowly up the steps of the Claude Pepper Federal Building in Chicago. At 78, his gait wasn't as steady as it had been during his Navy days, but his spine remained straight, his shoulders squared with the bearing of a man who'd spent 40 years serving his country. Sam wore his standard civilian clothes, a worn brown jacket from Goodwill, khaki pants with frayed cuffs, and black sneakers that had seen better decades. His Social Security check didn't stretch far, and appearance had never mattered much to him anyway. What mattered was being here, today, at this time. 2:30 p.m., same time every year for the past 22 years. The federal building's lobby was a study in bureaucratic efficiency: polished marble floors, security checkpoints, government workers moving with purpose between elevators. Sam approached the information desk where a new security guard, maybe 25 years old, looked up from his phone. "I'm here to visit the memorial," Sam said quietly. The guard looked confused. "Memorial? Agent Chen's plaque, southwest wall." The guard glanced around the lobby, clearly unaware of any memorial. "Sir, are you here for a specific appointment?" "No appointment needed. I come every year." Sam walked past the confused guard toward the southwest corner of the lobby, where a small bronze plaque was mounted about 6 feet up the wall. Most people never noticed it. Just another piece of government decoration in a building full of official plaques and portraits. This one read, "Agent Sarah Chen, 1975-2001, died in service to her country." Sam stood in front of the plaque, removed his worn baseball cap, and bowed his head. For the next hour, he would remember his partner, his friend, the woman who died saving this building from a terrorist attack that could have killed hundreds. The federal building had undergone security restructuring 6 months earlier. Budget cuts and personnel changes had brought in a new private security company, younger guards, less experience, focused more on efficiency than understanding. Marcus Washington, 26, was the lead guard on duty. He'd been working federal security for 3 years and took his job seriously. Too seriously, some said. He ran the checkpoint like a military operation, which was ironic since he'd never served in the military himself. "Kevin," Marcus called to his partner, "you see that old guy over there?" Kevin Torres, 23, looked toward the southwest wall where Sam stood silently in front of the memorial plaque. "Yeah, been there about an hour." "That's too long. This isn't a rest home." Marcus had noticed Sam several times over the past few months. Always the same routine, always the same spot. The old man never caused trouble, never talked to anyone, but something about his presence bothered Marcus. Homeless people sometimes tried to use federal buildings as shelter, and Marcus had made it his mission to keep the lobby clear of undesirables. "Maybe he's waiting for someone," Kevin suggested. "For an hour, in front of a wall?" Marcus shook his head. "I'm going to move him along." Kevin felt uncomfortable. The old man wasn't bothering anyone, wasn't breaking any laws. But Marcus was the senior guard, and Kevin needed this job. "Sir," Marcus approached Sam with the confident stride of authority, "I'm going to need you to move along." Sam looked up from the plaque. His eyes were red-rimmed, not from tears but from the memories that September 11th always brought back. "I'm not bothering anyone. This is a federal building, not a lounge. If you don't have business here, you need to leave." Sam's jaw tightened slightly. "I do have business here." "What business?" Sam looked back at the plaque. "How do you explain 22 years of grief to a kid who wasn't even born when the towers fell?" "Personal business." Marcus had dealt with difficult people before. Homeless individuals who became belligerent when asked to leave, protesters who tried to enter restricted areas, confused elderly people who wandered into federal buildings thinking they were somewhere else. This old man seemed to fall into the latter category. "Sir, I'm going to ask you one more time to leave voluntarily." Sam turned to face Marcus fully. Even at 78, there was something in his posture that suggested he'd been dangerous once. Not threatening now, just substantial. "Son, I've been coming here longer than you've been alive. That doesn't give you the right to loiter." "I'm not loitering. I'm paying respects." Marcus glanced at the plaque Sam had been standing in front of. He'd walked past it hundreds of times but never really read it. Some agent who'd died years ago, probably before his time. Look, I'm sure you mean well, but rules are rules. This building has strict security protocols. Sam almost smiled at that. Security protocols. Yes, sir. And those protocols don't allow people to hang around the lobby indefinitely. I designed those protocols. Marcus blinked. Then he laughed. Not cruelly, but with the kind of amusement you'd show a confused grandfather who claimed he'd invented the telephone. Sure you did. Kevin, come help me escort Mr. Marcus paused. What's your name, sir? Samuel Mitchell. The name meant nothing to Marcus. Should it have? He'd only been working federal security for 3 years, and the old-timers who might have known that name had all retired or moved on. Kevin approached reluctantly. Sir, maybe we could just— Kevin, we're not negotiating with homeless people. Sam's eyes hardened. I'm not homeless. Then where do you live? Sam gave his address. A senior housing complex on the south side. Marcus wrote it down, not because he believed it, but because it was protocol. ID. Sam reached into his jacket pocket slowly, aware that sudden movements around federal security could be misinterpreted. He pulled out a worn wallet and handed over his driver's license. Marcus examined it. Samuel Mitchell, 78. Address matched what he'd said. The license was valid, but that didn't mean much. Plenty of disturbed people had valid identification. Mr. Mitchell, I'm going to ask you to leave now. If you don't comply voluntarily, I'll have to call for additional security. Sam looked once more at Sarah's plaque. He'd planned to stay until 4 p.m., the time she died 22 years ago, but fighting with security guards wasn't why he'd come. Fine. As Sam walked toward the exit, Marcus called after him. And Mr. Mitchell, don't come back unless you have official business. 5 floors up, Patricia Walsh stood at her office window, watching the scene unfold in the lobby below. As building administrator, she'd seen plenty of security incidents over the years, but something about this one made her pause. The old man looked familiar. Patricia had worked in the Claude Pepper Federal Building for 25 years, starting as a junior administrator in 1998. She'd lived through 9/11, through the anthrax scares, through every security upgrade and protocol change that had followed. She watched the guards escort the elderly man toward the exit and felt a chill of recognition. That bearing, that deliberate, measured way of moving. Oh my God, she whispered. Patricia had been here in October 2001, when white powder had been found in the building's mailroom. While everyone else evacuated in panic, one man had stayed behind to secure the facility and coordinate with hazmat teams. One man who'd made sure she got out safely when her supervisor had left her behind. Master Chief Samuel Mitchell. Patricia grabbed her phone and speed-dialed building security. Marcus, this is Administrator Walsh. Do not let that elderly man leave the building. Ma'am? Which elderly man? The one you just escorted to the exit. Bring him back immediately. Miss Walsh, he was loitering. No official business, no appointment. I was following protocol. Marcus, that man is the protocol. His name is Samuel Mitchell, and if you let him walk out that door, you'll be looking for a new job tomorrow. Patricia was already moving toward the elevator, her heels clicking rapidly across the polished floor of her office. Sam was halfway down the federal building's front steps when he heard running footsteps behind him. Sir, wait. It was the younger guard, Kevin, looking nervous and out of breath. Mr. Mitchell, I'm sorry, but I need to ask you to come back inside. Sam turned slowly. Son, your partner made it clear I wasn't welcome. There's been a miscommunication. The building administrator wants to speak with you. Behind Kevin, Marcus was jogging down the steps, looking confused and increasingly worried. His radio was crackling with urgent messages from upstairs. Mr. Mitchell, Marcus panted, I think there might have been some kind of mistake. Sam studied the young man's face. What kind of mistake? Before Marcus could answer, the building's front doors burst open. Patricia Walsh emerged, moving faster than her business attire really allowed. When she saw Sam, she stopped abruptly, her hand going to her chest. Chief Mitchell. Sam turned toward the voice, and his expression softened with recognition. Patricia Kowalski? Patricia Walsh now, married. She walked down the steps slowly, as if approaching something precious that might disappear if she moved too quickly. 22 years, Sam said quietly. 22 years, she confirmed. Marcus and Kevin looked between them, completely lost. Ma'am, Marcus said carefully. Do you know this gentleman? Patricia's eyes never left Sam's face. Know him? This man saved my life. October 15th, 2001, Patricia said, her voice carrying across the federal building steps. 3 weeks after 9/11, everyone was on edge, jumping at shadows. A small crowd had gathered, other building employees curious about the commotion, security guards from neighboring buildings, a few passers-by who sensed something significant happening. We got a call about suspicious white powder in the mailroom. Could have been flour, could have been baking soda, could have been anthrax. Sam remained quiet, uncomfortable with being the center of attention. But Patricia continued. The evacuation order came down. Everyone out, but the procedures were chaos. Nobody knew who was supposed to do what, where people should go, how to secure classified materials. She looked at Marcus and Kevin. There was no comprehensive security protocol back then, not like what you boys follow now. I stayed behind to make sure everything was done right, Sam said simply. He stayed behind, Patricia corrected, to make sure everyone else got out safely, including me. Her voice cracked slightly. My supervisor had already left. I was a junior admin, nobody important. I was trying to shut down computers, secure files, follow procedure. But I didn't know the proper evacuation route from the upper floors. Sam's jaw tightened at the memory. Elevators were shut down. Stairwells were supposed to be clear, but half the exit signs were wrong. I got lost, Patricia admitted. Ended up in a section that should have been sealed off. By the time I realized I was in the wrong place, the hazmat teams were already setting up. I could have been trapped in there for hours. She looked directly at Sam. Chief Mitchell found me. He'd done a final sweep of every floor, every office, every storage room, making sure no one was left behind. Just doing my job. No, Patricia said firmly. Your job was facility security. Your job was keeping the building safe. You didn't have to risk exposure to chemical agents to save one scared administrator. Ma'am, Marcus interrupted quietly. What exactly was Mr. Mitchell's position here? Patricia smiled. Chief Mitchell was the head of building security from 1987 to 2002. 15 years. Before that he was Navy, Master Chief, specialized in facility protection and threat assessment. She gestured toward the building behind them. Every security protocol you follow, every checkpoint procedure, every emergency evacuation plan, Chief Mitchell either designed it or had a hand in improving it. Kevin's eyes widened. The security protocols that he said he designed, Marcus finished, feeling sick. Not just designed, Patricia corrected, perfected. After the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, federal buildings across the country had to upgrade their security. Chief Mitchell's protocols became the model that other facilities copied. Sam shifted uncomfortably. Patricia, that's enough. No, it's not enough. These young men need to understand what they just did. She turned back to Marcus and Kevin. You just forcibly removed the man who spent 15 years making this building safe. The man who created the job you're doing right now. Marcus felt his career slipping away. Sir, we didn't know. How could you know? Sam asked. I retired 21 years ago. Most of the people who worked with me are gone. But you kept coming back, Patricia said. Every September 11th. Sam nodded toward the building. Sarah's memorial. Agent Chen was his partner, Patricia explained to the guards. Federal security. Worked with Chief Mitchell on counterterrorism protocols. She died in the line of duty, Sam added quietly. Patricia's expression grew solemn. September 11th, 2001. While everyone was watching the towers fall, a domestic terrorist tried to use the chaos to attack this building. Agent Chen stopped him. How? Kevin asked. Sam answered. She was doing a routine patrol when she noticed a man in the parking garage acting suspiciously. Instead of calling it in and waiting for backup, she approached him directly. He had enough explosives to bring down half the building, Patricia continued. Sarah tried to arrest him. He triggered the device, but she'd already gotten him far enough away from the main structure. She saved hundreds of lives, Sam said. Including mine. The plaque upstairs, Kevin said. Understanding dawning. That's why you come here. Every year, Sam confirmed. Same time she died. 4:13 p.m. Patricia checked her watch. It's 3:45 now. Sam looked toward the building entrance. I usually stay until 4:13, but if the rules have changed, the rules haven't changed, Patricia said firmly. You have permanent access to this building, Chief. That was part of your retirement agreement. Marcus looked confused. I never saw any paperwork about permanent access, because it's in the classified personnel files, Patricia explained. Chief Mitchell maintains a top-secret clearance. He's authorized to be in this building anytime, for any reason. She pulled out her phone. I'm going to have personnel send down his access documentation. You'll both need to read it so this never happens again. Sam held up a hand. Patricia, I don't need special treatment. This isn't special treatment. This is correcting a serious security breach. She looked at Marcus and Kevin sternly. Do you understand what could have happened if Chief Mitchell had been a real threat assessment? If he'd been testing our security? Marcus swallowed hard. We would have failed. Catastrophically. A man with his training and knowledge could have identified every weakness in our system, and you would have escorted him through the entire building without realizing the danger. Kevin looked sick. We're going to be fired. Patricia considered this. That depends on what you learn from this mistake. Chief Mitchell, Patricia said, would you be willing to help train our security staff? Sam looked surprised. Train them. These incidents are happening because our current guards don't understand the history of this building, don't know the people who built the systems they're protecting. She gestured toward Marcus and Kevin. They're good guards, but they've been trained to see threats, not to recognize assets. Sam studied the two young men. What do you know about federal building security? Marcus answered first. We know the current protocols. Check IDs, monitor access points, report suspicious behavior. But do you know why those protocols exist? Kevin shook his head. Every rule you follow was written in blood. Sam said quietly. Every checkpoint exists because someone died. Every procedure was created to prevent the next attack. He looked up at the federal building. This building has been targeted 4 times in its history. Twice by domestic terrorists, once by foreign agents, once by a mentally disturbed individual with military training. I didn't know that, Marcus admitted.
Most people don't, but that's why your job matters. You're not just checking IDs and watching monitors. You're the last line of defense against people who want to hurt federal employees and citizens. Patricia nodded. Chief, would you consider coming in once a month to share some of that history with our security staff? Sam was quiet for a long moment. I'd prefer to just visit Sarah in peace, of course, but maybe helping train the next generation of guards would be a way to honor her memory. Sam looked at Marcus and Kevin. What made you think I was a threat? Marcus hesitated. You looked homeless, Sam finished. Poor, old, out of place. Yes, sir. 22 years ago, the terrorist who tried to bomb this building looked like a successful businessman. Expensive suit, briefcase, credentials that passed every security check. Marcus frowned. How did Agent Chen know he was dangerous? Because she talked to him, asked questions, paid attention to behavior, not just appearance. Sam gestured toward the building. You see an old man in thrift store clothes standing in front of a memorial, and you assume he's trouble. But did you ask why he was there? Did you read the memorial plaque? Did you try to understand what you were seeing? Kevin shook his head. We just saw someone who didn't fit. Security isn't about making people fit, Sam said. It's about understanding what doesn't belong. There's a difference. Patricia added. Chief Mitchell, what would proper procedure have been? Ask questions, check the memorial plaque, run my name through the system. Sam looked at Marcus. If you'd done a proper background check instead of just looking at my driver's license, what would you have found? Marcus realized he'd never actually run Sam's information through the federal database. I don't know. Top secret clearance, 40 years federal service, medal commendations, and a flag in the system that I'm to be extended every courtesy. But most importantly, Patricia added, you would have found that he belongs here. This building was his responsibility for 15 years. Agent Chen was his partner. This memorial is his to visit. 4:13 p.m. Sam stood once again in front of Sarah Chen's memorial plaque, but this time he wasn't alone. Patricia stood beside him, along with Marcus, Kevin, and 3 other security guards who'd quietly joined them. Agent Chen was 26 when she died, Sam said quietly. Youngest person on our security team. She'd been federal service for 3 years. He paused, remembering. She was supposed to have September 11th off. Called in anyway. Said the building needed all hands during the crisis. Patricia wiped away a tear. I never knew that. Sarah believed this building represented something important, not just another government facility, but a place where people came to exercise their rights as citizens. Social security applications, immigration services, federal court hearings. Sam touched the plaque gently. She died protecting people's access to their own government. Marcus cleared his throat. Chief Mitchell, I want to apologize, not just for today, but for not understanding what this place means. Son, you can't apologize for not knowing something you were never taught, but I should have asked better questions. Sam nodded. That's the lesson. In security work, assumptions can be deadly, but so can ignorance. Patricia stepped forward. Chief, the offer stands. Monthly training sessions for security staff. Help them understand not just the procedures, but the purpose. Sam was quiet for several minutes, still looking at Sarah's memorial. Finally, I'll do it. But not for the money or the official recognition. For what then? For Sarah. She'd want these young people to know why their job matters. 3 months later, the Claude Pepper Federal Building had become a model for security training in the federal system. Sam's monthly sessions drew guards not just from Chicago, but from federal buildings across the Midwest. He didn't teach tactics or technology. Other instructors handled that. Sam taught history, context, purpose. Federal building security isn't about keeping people out, he would tell each new class. It's about keeping the right people safe, so they can do their jobs serving the public. Marcus and Kevin had become his most dedicated students. They'd volunteered to help research the building's history, creating a comprehensive guide that new guards could study. We found records of all 4 attack attempts, Marcus reported during one training session, including detailed reports on how each one was stopped. And the memorial wall? Sam asked. Completed last week, Kevin replied proudly. They'd convinced building administration to create a proper memorial wall featuring Agent Chen and 3 other federal employees who died in the line of duty. Sarah's small plaque had been moved to a place of honor, surrounded by context about her service and sacrifice. More importantly, Patricia added, we've had 0 security incidents since Chief Mitchell started training. Sam wasn't surprised. When guards understand the history, they make better decisions. When they know what they're protecting, they protect it better. September 11, 2024. 1 year after his confrontation with security, Sam walked up the steps of the federal building, but this time he wasn't alone. Patricia Walsh met him at the entrance, along with Marcus, Kevin, and a dozen other building employees. They'd organized a small memorial service for Agent Chen and the other fallen federal workers. Chief, Marcus said, we have something for you. He handed Sam a brass nameplate. Samuel Mitchell, Chief Security Consultant, Claude Pepper Federal Building. You don't have to pay me, Sam protested. We're not. Patricia smiled. It's an honorary position, but it comes with permanent building access and a parking space. Sam looked at the nameplate, then at the young guards who'd become his students. Sarah would have liked you boys, he said finally. How can you tell? Kevin asked. Because you learned from your mistake instead of making excuses. That's what she always did. As the small ceremony concluded, Sam remained at the memorial wall. But this time, he wasn't just remembering the dead. He was thinking about the living, about young guards who now understood their purpose, about citizens who could access their government safely, about a building that honored its protectors properly. Chief, Marcus approached quietly. Same time next month for training? Sam nodded. Same time. But Marcus, yes sir, remember, you're not just learning procedures, you're learning to see people clearly. The difference could save lives. The training program Sam developed in Chicago was adopted by federal buildings in 12 cities within a year. His emphasis on understanding purpose rather than just following procedure had reduced security incidents nationwide. But more importantly, it had restored something many federal buildings had lost: the connection between security and service. We're not fortress guards, Sam would tell each new class. We're public servants. Our job is to make it safe for other public servants to do their jobs. Patricia had been promoted to Regional Building Administrator, overseeing security training across the Great Lakes region. She always made sure Sam's story was included in orientation materials. Marcus and Kevin had both been promoted as well, Marcus to Senior Security Coordinator, Kevin to Training Specialist. They'd become advocates for veteran employment in federal security, knowing firsthand the value of experience and institutional memory. Young guards bring energy and modern training, Marcus would explain to administrators. But veteran guards bring wisdom and context. You need both. The Memorial Wall in Chicago had inspired similar projects in other federal buildings. Places where fallen federal employees had been forgotten were now remembered and honored. But for Sam, the most important change was simpler. He could visit Sarah's memorial in peace, surrounded by guards who understood why he was there. Samuel Mitchell never wanted recognition for designing security protocols, or training guards, or saving lives during the anthrax scare. He just wanted to remember his partner in peace. But sometimes the most important service happens when you least expect it. Sometimes teaching comes disguised as confrontation. Sometimes the greatest lessons come from the worst mistakes. Marcus and Kevin learned that assumptions can be dangerous, but they also learned that ignorance can be cured through education and humility. Patricia learned that institutional memory matters, that the people who built the systems we rely on deserve recognition and respect. And Sam learned that Sarah's legacy wasn't just the lives she saved in death, but the lives he could still protect through teaching. Federal buildings across the country are safer today because 2 young guards made a mistake and chose to learn from it rather than defend it. Sometimes the greatest security threat isn't the person trying to get in. It's the failure to recognize the people who've been protecting us all along. Sarah Chen died protecting strangers. Samuel Mitchell spent the next 23 years protecting her memory, and now a new generation of guards protects both. But every year on September 11th at exactly 2 p.m., the bench facing the west wall stays empty until Sam arrives, and the guards never laugh at another old man again. Thank you for watching People's Journal Stories. If you know a veteran or public servant whose dedication deserves recognition, share their story in the comments. And if you believe stories like this need to be heard, don't forget to subscribe. We share stories that remind us to honor those who serve every week.